Hello everybody, welcome to a Room 222 Photoshop tutorial. Today we're going to be checking out pop art. So this is our picture that we're going to be creating for your mandatory project. This is Emma Watson, and she has been transformed into what is called pop art. It's something that Roy Lichtenstein is famous for, and something that we will actually be talking about later on in class. So to get started, we're going to open up Photoshop. We're going to go to File, Open, HS Video, Z Drive, Useful Tools, Photoshop Tools and Resources, Stock Photos, People, and then the second, Emma Watson. And she's going to appear here. Next, we're going to desaturate our image. So to do that, we're going to click Control-Shift-U on your keyboard. And then next we're going to make sure that our color blocks, our foreground and our background, are black and white. To do that, you can click D on your keyboard. And black should be in the foreground and white should be in the background. If you need to switch them, you can click X on your keyboard, or you can click these small arrows. Next we're going to go to Image at the top, select Image Size. And we're going to change our resolution to 72 pixels per inch. And then we're going to change the width of our photo to 500 pixels. And that'll automatically change your height. After you do that, you're going to click OK, and it'll make your picture smaller. Next, we're going to do Control plus. And you could technically do Control 0 to scale it to frame size if you would want to. And we're going to auto-tone it. So auto-toning is making your brights brighter and your darks darker. And to do that, you can go to Image, Auto-Tone. And as you see, it adjusts that coloring, those levels, just a little bit. Now we want to select the background. To do this, we're going to select our Polygon Lasso tool. Don't use Quick Selection. Use the Polygon Lasso tool. You're going to start at the corner, and you're just going to click and click and drag all the way around. You don't have to be extremely detailed, but it should be relatively close. If you need to zoom in a little bit, you can just do Control plus, and that'll allow you to zoom in. And you just move your way around the screen. If you move your mouse up, it'll automatically move the picture up. And then you can just kind of do like a jagged edge around her hair. You do not have to be extremely accurate in this, because I know that her hair is a little whack, but that's okay. So again, I'm just making a zigzag motion. You are welcome to do the same. When you get to the end, you're actually then going to go to each corner and click so that it will ultimately select the background. And then we'll go back to the very beginning, and it will actually make a little circle. You click it and it'll create a selection. And then we're going to actually make it a pure white background by doing Control Delete. And then we're going to deselect by doing Control D. And then do Control 0 to zoom out. And then we have our pure white background. Next, we'll make a duplicate layer by doing Control J. Yes. So we're going to go to Filter, Filter Gallery, and we're going to select halftone pattern. Ideally, your size should be 1. That should not change. Depending on your picture, your contrast might be a little bit darker or it might be a little bit lighter. It depends on what suits you. Especially when you do this as a choice project, you might have to do a lesser contrast versus a higher contrast. I'm going to stick to around 10 to give it a little bit of that contrast of the black and white with still some gray in there. We'll click OK. And then we're going to go back to Filter and go to Sharpen and select Smart Sharpen. And this is going to sharpen the dots on this image. It should be at Basic, Default, and the amount should be 500%. Again, your radius will change. Depending on how defined you want these dots, you could make the radius a little bit bigger or less if you want to go on the lesser route. I'm going to put mine around 0.9, and then Gaussian blur should be your remove, and then select more accurate, and then click OK. So now we have this nice dotted photo. We're going to move over to our blend mode, which is set at normal. It needs to go to multiply for this to work. If you don't change it, you won't see the coloring that we're doing next. So to do that, you're going to click New Layer, and you're going to move this layer underneath Layer 1. And the multiply on Layer 1 allows us to see the color that we're going to put on Layer 2. So essentially, Layer 2 is going to be our coloring book for our picture. So we're going to first do the background coloring. So it should be a light pink. And you can do that as close to it as you can. Doesn't have to be exact, but it should be a light pink. We'll go over to our paint bucket, which could be gradient for you. And then we're going to select it, and it's going to create that nice light pink color. Our next job is we're going to color in the skin. And feel free to use this skin color, or you may use a different skin tone. I'm okay with that too. But if you wanted to get the peachy color skin tone, you're going to do F7, CEB7. And it's going to create a nice peachy skin tone. And we're going to use our brush now. So I picked the second one, and then I just did like 0.5% of hardness. So it's kind of a softer. And then I'm going to make my brush a little bit bigger, and I'm going to color in her skin. Say for instance I accidentally colored outside of the lines like that. You can then click the eyedropper tool and select the pink that it was, and then go back to the brush tool and color that back over top. And your keyboard shortcuts for that are I for eyedropper and B for brush. So now that we have our skin tone done, and do your best over here. I know it's difficult to see, but as long as you kind of relatively get it, I'm okay with that. So now next we're going to do the whites of the eyes. If you mess up too, you can always do Control Z to deselect, or not deselect, to undo. We'll do her teeth. And again, this is all on that same layer. We're going to make her eyes blue. So I want like a light blue. Oh yeah, and then her earrings should be white. Forgot about that. Just put a little dot over here. Her lips should be a purple color, like a dark purple. Do your best on this. I know it's hard to see. Didn't really show up that well to see the different contrasts. If it's easier for you to do this stuff first and then fill in the skin color, you can do that as well. Next, her hair color. I want a nice bright yellow. And then lastly, her shirt should be like a mint green, light green. Control 0 to zoom out. Oop, we missed a spot. You want to make sure that you always check, just in case. And there we have it, our wonderful pop art picture. To finish up, you're going to go to File, Save As. You want to make sure you save it as a JPEG, and you want to save it to your Z Drive folder, or Finished Projects folder. If you have any questions, need any help, raise your hand and I'll be around. Alright, off you go.